The Home Secretary, Priti Patel, has been asked to consider allowing a virtual trial for the American woman who's accused of killing 19-year-old motorcyclist Harry Dunn in a road accident last summer. And Sacoolas claimed diplomatic immunity and returned to the United States following the collision outside RAF Crawton. The suggestion has been put forward by the Dunn's family MP, Andrea Leadsom.
Hundreds of live music and arts venues across the UK will light their buildings red today to draw attention to the impact of Covid-19 on those working in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, the sector says it's on the verge of collapse unless it receives urgent financial support from the government.
Day after day, we've been hearing about jobs under threat, jobs being lost, and even the Chancellor told Breakfast last week that hardship lies ahead. He cannot, he said, save every business and every job. So these numbers later, what should we be looking for? Well, let's start with the unemployment rate. Last month, that was 3.9%, or about 1.35 million people, which is the same as pre-lockdown, which is strange, isn't it? Why is that? Well, it's partly to do with the way the numbers are gathered. It doesn't count people who are out of work but not yet registered looking for a job. And the furlough scheme could be masking reality. The government is paying the majority of wages of 9.6 million jobs. Between now and October, that scheme will be wound down and it's expected many more jobs will be lost. What can we learn from today's figures then? Well, this is really important. We'll be looking at the number of people on the payroll. That's the HMRC National Register. Last month, it showed there were just over 28 million paid employees, and that was down by 650,000 since the beginning of lockdown. And then there were the weekly hours worked. That's also fallen by a record amount since the start of the pandemic. Now, the Bank of England has estimated that unemployment could reach 7% come the autumn. That would translate to about 2.5 million people out of a job. Other experts, though, say that could be much higher, especially if we have a second spike. Predictions are very difficult at the moment. But
let's have a look at the Tuesday morning papers, shall we? And starting there with the front page of The Guardian, whose top story is one we're talking about here this morning. It says ministers are facing mounting anger over the handling of how A-levels in England are being graded this year. We're going to have more on that throughout the programme. We'll be joined by a former head of Ofsted just before 7 o'clock.
The Times reports that secondary school pupils can transmit coronavirus as easily as adults. This is according to a study by Public Health England. The scientists believe that tougher rules may be needed for older children.
The Metro's front page talks about what it calls an anti-mask mob. Shocking horrors.
Mocking shoppers.
Mocking shop. It really is. It's Spoonerism week shoppers. Here on Breakfast, isn't it? Mocking shoppers. It reports that a group of activists urged customers in a supermarket to remove face coverings.
Well done, well done.
We got there.
The Daily Telegraph.
I've been talking to Carol.
Yeah. We'll be speaking to Carol shortly. The Daily Telegraph leads on what it calls the overhaul of the contact tracing system. It says under new plans, Council will be given dedicated ring-fenced teams from the National Service to help with community virus tracing. There's another treat for stargazers tonight as the annual Perseid meteor shower reaches its peak. Up to 100 shooting stars an hour will be visible